Now, this Part 3 identifies critical geopolitical evidence surrounding the COVID-19 crisis to help shed light on the Bundibugyo Ebola, a rare variant that currently has no approved vaccines or treatment and is spreading like wildfire. Over 3,000 people affected and more than 1,300 people dead in Congo. The situation is exacerbated by the strong mistrust the locals have towards their central government, foreign NGOs and mining corporations. I'm sure you're asking why. Well, first, it so happens that the epicenter of the outbreak is Mongbwalu in Ituri province, which sits on a massive gold deposit. For context, DRC is the world leading producer of cobalt and Africa's largest producer of copper, both of which are integral to every world power's race towards green energy. But the shocker being the DRC, as we speak, holds over $24 trillion worth of untapped mineral resources. So why should such a country still remain poor? The answer is the second reason these locals are highly distrustful, because it traces back to the assassination of Patrice Lumumba, the first independently elected Prime Minister of Congo, who declared all mineral resources of Congo belongs to and must be enjoyed by Congolese, killed by a firing squad orchestrated by the United States CIA and Belgian authorities. Mind you, everyone that called out the US as the actual assassinators of Lumumba were tagged conspiracy theorists until the United States Senate investigation into illegal CIA activities under the Church Committee declassified CIA files in 1975 showed not only did they orchestrate the assassination of Lumumba, but the CIA even had a more clandestine plan B. Now here is where it gets very diabolical. The CIA director Alan Dulles approved the plan to assassinate Lumumba using a biological agent, which is a virus or a bacteria, designed to induce an untraceable fatal illness. The CIA's own scientist, Sidney Goulier, personally carried the pathogen to the Congo, but Lumumba was already killed by other means before the biological weapon could be deployed. Now, I know of a certain Nigerian military head of state that died of absolutely no traceable cause of death. The second reason for the mistrust is the incessant killings and kidnappings by armed militants or terrorists, with almost zero visible heavy retaliations or consequences, almost practically similar to how Nigeria became the fifth largest global producer of rare earth minerals in 2024, despite having no officially recorded reserves, and somehow almost all the states where the REMs are deposited are suffering terrorist attacks, similar to what is happening in Congo. There's a video on the REMs linked in the description below. I digress once more. Lumumba's death triggered Congo's destabilization, which has now spiraled so bad the unpaid doctors and workers in the Ebola centers are on strike as we speak. However, the officials and scientists have heavily debunked the suspicion because this strain of Ebola isn't new. The first outbreak was in Bundibugyo district in Uganda in 2007, and it shows no sign of artificial gene splicing or laboratory modifications, attributing the real origin of the leak to heavy deforestation from large corporate minings, which disrupts the habitats of fruit bats, the primary natural reservoirs for Ebola. However, did you know that during the investigations into the COVID-19 virus, it was discovered that some US researchers proposed to use reverse genetic cloning methods to render it almost impossible to prove whether a specific virus evolved in nature or was synthesized in a laboratory. But what is more diabolical is they suggested to experiment or carry out this type of gain-of-function research on viruses that were already naturally occurring in that geography to make it look natural. For context, gain-of-function research means taking a naturally occurring virus and modifying it in a lab to make it either more transmissible, that is, it spreads easier, or more lethal, meaning it kills more efficiently. Now, which side of the story do you believe? I'd really like to see a part 4 deep dive into the COVID-19 investigations. Let me know in the comment section. Remember to like and share, and as always, don't trust, verify.